Okay, in this lesson 18, we're going to talk about colors, how to define colors in JavaScript. But before we get started, get this copied here. This is my Atom file. Get this copied. I've got a tiny bit of HTML here, this div. And then I started some JavaScript. We already did, we went through get element by ID a couple times. So go ahead and get that copied down, and then we'll start writing some more code. Okay, so let me open up this, what we have so far. Let me open up this HTML file. Here's some old stuff I want to get rid of. And we just have these three little dots because I put three little dots in here. I just wanted to see that I actually have a div there. Now, what we want to do is we're going to give that div dimensions, width and height, and we're going to give it color. Okay, so let's go down here and we'll say my div. And since we're working with CSS, we use the word style. And we're going to give it some width, so we use the word width equals, in quotes, I'm going to say it's 100 px. That stands for 100 pixels. You need to put that in quotes. I'm going to copy that, paste it down on the line below, and change the width to height. I do that. I make this mistake often. I type in height. It's height. Okay. Anyway. Okay, and save that and reload it. It doesn't change any because we don't have a color yet. So let's give it a color. My div style background color. Notice how it's background color, but notice how the C is capitalized. Equals, in quotes, let's call it red. Save it, reload. There we go. Let's go ahead and move this over like that. Okay, so there it is. A red rectangle or square, which is 100 pixels by 100 pixels. Okay, so the first way to define a color in JavaScript is with a word. Okay, so there are many words we can use, but I use a reference to get the names of colors because some names are obscure. Of course, there's the basic ones like red, blue, yellow, green, and stuff like that. Let's say blue. There's blue. Okay, but there's a whole bunch of other ones. So if we do a search on CSS colors, we get a whole bunch of stuff. We could click any of these and get the names of colors. I'm just going to go ahead and grab this top one right here where it says Mozilla and scroll down. Here we go. So here's the word. Just for black, silver, gray, white, right? So we can use any of these words to get any of these colors. So let me grab one. Let's use, here's one, dark orchid. Let's see what that looks like. Dark orchid. Save that. And there we go. Okay, so you can use any of these colors just by inserting a name. And there's a whole bunch of them. There's a lot of choices, okay? Not infinite, but there are a lot of choices. Okay, and you probably noticed, well, what is this weird looking number here? Let me go to the top. RGB hex value. Well, that is the second way to define a number. RGB hex value, what does that mean? Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you the regular RGB values first. So RGB, I'm sorry. And by the way, RGB stands for red, green, blue. So let's get rid of this, keep the quotes. So we can define a color with RGB. So it goes like this, RGB, parentheses, and we need 3 numbers because we need a red, a green, and a blue. So let's just say the red, oh, by the way, the numbers are from 0 to 255. Okay, so let's say red is 100, comma, and the green is, let's say the green is 50, comma, and let's say the blue is 200. Let's save that. So we got mostly blue, we've got some red, and we got a tiny bit of green. So let's go up here and see what that looks like. Okay, it's kind of a purplish color. So let's just see if we maximize the blue, 255, and we minimize the other two. The green is 0, the red is 0. Let's see what that looks like. Save that. Blue. Okay, so it's maximum blue. So let's say we're just going to do blue, but we don't want to do maximum blue. Let's just do like 50. Save that. Okay, it's a really, really dark blue. It's almost like black. Let's go 150. There we go. So still a dark blue, but so you see the higher the number, the brighter the number. And the closer the number gets to 0, the darker it gets. So if we did all RGB and all of them zeros, what do you think we'll get? Black. And if we did all 255, copy, paste, save. So all 255, white. It just disappeared. It's really white. Okay. So that's RGB color. Now, back to this RGB hex value. Well, a hex value refers to a hexadecimal number, which is our counting system is base 10 decimal, and hex is base 16. So if I do a search on, I'm just say hex numbers and see if I get anything. Hex numbers. There we go, hexadecimal math. So here's what hex numbers look like. On the bottom here we have decimal numbers 0 through 15. And above that we have hexadecimal numbers 0 through 15, but we use letters starting with 10. So in other words, 0 through 9 is the same. When we get to 10, the hex is A, B, C, D, E, and F is 15. Okay, why do we do that? Because in hex, we just want to use one letter to represent a two-digit number. Okay, and why are we using hexadecimal at all? Why are we using base 16? Well, we use base 8 and base 16 in computer science sometimes, and that is because the byte, you probably heard the term byte, is an 8-bit number. And so we use base 8 and base 16 because it allows us to count differently. Now, when you're writing basic JavaScript, you don't need to bother with this stuff. I mean, when you get deeper into computer science, that stuff becomes important, learning octal and learning hexadecimal. I hardly ever use hexadecimal numbers, but I just wanted to show you that sometimes you'll see colors specified in hex. Now, let me go back to the CSS colors. See, here's some, I don't even need to open this. Here's some hex colors right now. So here's how it works. Remember we talked about RGB? Well, these first two hex numbers represent red. The second two hex numbers represent green. And the third two represent blue. So, for instance, let's do this. Get rid of this. So I said, and they can be lowercase or uppercase. So the max is F. That's represents the number 15. So remember the max for RGB was 255. So FF in hexadecimal is the number 255. So what I'm saying is this is white. This is 255, 255, 255. Okay, let me prove that to you. Save that. Kind of didn't do anything. Didn't look like it did anything, but watch this. If we go 0, 0, that's minimum red, 0, 0, minimum green, 0, 0, minimum blue. Save that. And what's minimum? It's going to look like black, right? There we go, black. So let's do something else. So remember this last number is the blue. So let's maximize the blue with F's, FF. So what we have is minimum red, minimum green, maximum blue. Let's see what that looks like. Save. There's blue. Okay, so you don't need to use hex. If you look at old code though, or you're going to be analyzing some code, the better you get here. If you see this hashtag and then a whole bunch of numbers and letters, I don't want you to be confused. I want you to realize that's a hexadecimal number, and that represents, in this case, a color. Okay, so that's the only purpose of that. But have fun, experiment with a whole bunch of different colors, play with the RGB numbers, and play with the these stated numbers down here. I'm sorry, these colors that are defined by words here. Fuchsia, green, lime, olive, yellow, navy, blue, teal. Okay, so have fun with that. And see you next time.